China has ended its decades-long one-child policy in a bid to counter an increasing ageing population. For the first time in 35 years, all couples will be allowed to have 2 children. Even a two-child policy means China's communist leaders will retain considerable control over women's fertility. And some critics say 2 children per family will not boost China's birth rate enough. Anne Barker reports.
The policy reversal was eagerly expected in recent weeks and finally came at a Communist Party plenum to prepare China's next 5-year plan. After 3.5 decades of a strict one-child policy, all couples in China will soon be allowed 2. The decision has been welcomed by many Chinese, particularly younger generations. I think this policy is really good, says this woman, Liu Dan. I was born in the 80s and I'm an only child and I often felt so lonely. I think it's much better to have someone grow up with you, and when the parents get old, they can share the financial burden with you. For 35 years, the one-child policy has helped to keep China's birth rate down. The original aim was to reduce the population to 700 million, but exemptions for many rural families and parents who are both an only child mean today's population is nearly double that. And the policy has caused an acute age imbalance and a labour shortage that increasingly threatens China's economic prosperity. This policy helps to resolve the ageing society problem, says one man, Xu Dong. It'll provide more of a labour force for China. And this woman, Liao Dan Dan. The issue of ageing is rising, while the ratio of young people is decreasing. We all think the demographic structure has been improved gradually. Actually, we need more young people, newborn babies, to improve the demographic structure. I think looking forward, the whole family planning policy will be lifted. The one-child policy has long been regarded as one of the most repressive intrusions into Chinese family life, forcing many women to undergo sterilisation or abortions. But even a 2-child policy will give the Communist Party considerable control over women's lives. I think this policy is kind of an improvement in human rights, says Beijing resident Wu Jiahe. But I think how many babies a family should have depends on the personal rights of citizens. Chinese Australians too have welcomed the end of one-child China.
Now, obviously, a general population as well as the government realizes there is a problem in terms of meeting the future demands of the workforce. So I think it's a good change.
Some will be very excited, but some will be putting more pressure for them. Because for those right now is 30 or 40 years old, they have to look after their parents. If they get another 2 children, actually it's putting more pressure for them. So it will take maybe another 20, 30 years to improve the whole country.
Ironically, some critics say a 2-child policy won't boost China's birth rate anywhere near enough, because the reality is the cost of living and work pressures mean many families can't afford a second child.
Anne Barker reporting.